The studio lights blazed down on the stage, illuminating the polished set where Trevor Noah sat poised behind his desk. The audience buzzed with anticipation, clapping and cheering as the show returned from commercial break. No one knew that what was about to unfold would become one of the most talked about live TV moments of the year. Trevor leaned forward, that familiar mischievous glint in his eyes. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Karoline Leavitt." The camera panned to the young conservative commentator, walking confidently across the stage, a smile fixed on her face. Dressed sharply, she projected composure, but the faint tension in her eyes betrayed the weight of what she was stepping into. From the moment she sat down, the air crackled with unspoken tension. Everyone watching knew Trevor Noah was no ordinary interviewer. He had a gift, the ability to dissect arguments with humor, precision, and undeniable humanity. And Karoline, she was fiery, ambitious, and unafraid to go toe-to-toe with him. The opening exchange was polite, almost too polite. Trevor asked about her recent comments on free speech and the role of media. Karoline responded confidently, repeating talking points about biased narratives and protecting traditional values. But Trevor's smile never faltered. Instead of rebutting immediately, he leaned back and simply asked, "But Karoline, who decides what truth looks like? If everyone is free to define it, then what do we really stand on?" It was the kind of question that pierced through rehearsed rhetoric. The audience fell into a hush. Karoline hesitated, then countered with force, accusing the mainstream media of silencing voices like hers. Applause rippled through one side of the audience. But Trevor leaned forward, his voice steady, calm, and almost tender. "I get it," he said. "You feel like the world doesn't listen to people like you. But let me ask you this, when you say you're being silenced, how are you saying it on the biggest platforms in the world? On TV, on social media, in front of millions. Are you really silenced, or is it that people disagree with you, and that feels uncomfortable?" The words landed like thunder. For a moment, Karoline's face froze. The audience roared in applause, half in laughter, half in awe. Trevor hadn't just argued, he dismantled the foundation of her statement with undeniable logic. But the real turning point came when Trevor shifted the conversation from politics to people. He told a story about his mother in South Africa, about growing up under apartheid, and how the media wasn't just biased, it was controlled, manipulated to erase entire truths. "Silencing," he said, voice thick with emotion, "is not when someone argues with you on Twitter. Silencing is when your reality is erased from history, when your pain doesn't make the headlines, when your voice costs you your freedom, or your life." The audience fell silent. Even Karoline seemed momentarily lost for words. This wasn't just a debate anymore, it was raw, human truth. Trevor didn't need to raise his voice. His calm, personal story destroyed the walls of talking points that Karoline had built around herself. Still, to her credit, Karoline tried to fight back. She argued that America was different, that people like her were still being marginalized in conversations about culture. But Trevor's reply was surgical. "Karoline, maybe the real challenge isn't that you're not being heard. Maybe the challenge is that the world is finally hearing everyone else, and for the first time, your voice has to share the stage." That line hit with such weight that even the cameras seemed to pause. The audience erupted again, some clapping, some shouting in agreement. Karoline forced a smile, but her silence spoke louder than words. She wasn't destroyed by mockery or insults, she was destroyed by truth, by perspective, by a reminder of the bigger picture. By the time the segment ended, the energy in the studio was electric. Trevor thanked her genuinely, even complimenting her bravery for showing up and facing hard questions. Karoline nodded stiffly, but deep down, perhaps she knew she had been changed. Not humiliated, but challenged in a way that no talking point could shield her from. As the credits rolled, Trevor looked into the camera and left the audience, and the millions watching at home, with a powerful message. We don't need to destroy each other to be heard. But sometimes, the truth destroys the walls we build. And that's how we grow. The clip went viral within hours. Social media exploded with reactions. Some called it Trevor's most powerful takedown yet. Others praised Karoline for her courage to stand on that stage. But for everyone who watched, the moment was bigger than politics. It was a reminder that truth, when spoken with both firmness and compassion, has the power to cut through division and bring people back to their humanity. In the end, Trevor Noah didn't just destroy Karoline Leavitt on live TV. He destroyed the illusion that arguments are won by shouting the loudest. He proved that real strength comes from listening, questioning, and daring to tell your story, even when it shakes the ground beneath someone else's beliefs. And that was the lesson that lingered long after the applause had faded. Truth doesn't need to be cruel to be powerful.